versus maybe some other investments into other types of personnel or people or technologies for that matter. So before we get into that, I'd love to just go around, give yourself an introduction, your brand or company, and what you do within the space. We keep it short, and then we'll just kind of pass it around and start to dive deeper into this topic.
Well, thank you. Thanks, gentlemen. Yeah, and ladies first. My name is Ceiba, First Lady Chavez. I am the Senior Celebrity Publicist to Black and Brown Hollywood, the owner of the PR and Arts Agency. I've been curating interactive events here at Art Basel for 9 years. I'm also the advisor to the City of Miami Arts and Entertainment Culture Board. So I'm doing the Arts of Sustainability and Conscious right now. Consciousness, and that's the exhibition that we have going on with Fringe Art Fair. But on a day-to-day, I'm consulting brands, businesses, and artistry to be conscious and to be sustainable for the future. That's what I'm here for. Thanks.
Hi, so my name's Corey Lyon. I'm the NFT head of Metaverse Group and the co-founder of On-Chain Listings. Prior to that, I was the founder of NFT Basel. And before that, in the past life, I was a banker. So I started off at Goldman Sachs. I was an equity sales trader. Was one of the first guys to start off the Bitcoin desk there. Moved over to TD, became a derivatives trader, and started building out blockchain incubators. When NFTs came out, I just thought it a massive opportunity, especially in the physical art world. Dropped everything, built NFT Basel, and now I'm here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andre De Castro. I am the founder and CEO of a company called Blockchain of Things. We aim to lower the bar for building and integrating onto blockchain technology. Today, it's still difficult for many individuals, especially in the art space, who don't understand technology that much. Our platform today allows you to start doing integration with a low-code drag-and-drop tool. We build little portlets that pop into WordPress to make things easier. And our goal is to support the arts community and those who don't have the technical prowess to be able to do what they need to do on a level playing field.
Hey, Kelly Max, thanks for having me. I'm the founder of an innovation platform called Modernist, also founder of Solve, a social network that we're building based on audio to elevate voices all over the world through micro podcasting. But let's talk about Modernist. That's the NFT, the fun stuff. We're a collection of nearly 10,000 pieces that actually took an approach to really push the limits in what's possible. First of all, we didn't want to do an animal. So we did a humanoid face that you can see outside. To push the limits, it's really hard to create something that's inclusive if you take a human face, because we put people into boxes. And so we created this androgynous character with a musical layer on top that David Miner, our robot ballerina, produced. And it's a very fun concept. It's a puzzle concept. It's the first puzzle NFT. I'd love to talk to you guys more about it later, but very happy to be here. An exciting topic for sure.
All right. Well, thank you. So let's dive into it, right? And there's kind of this challenge, I think, that exists, and we are at a moment where there's a bit of a paradigm shift. And if we look at the art and culture, look at arts and culture, and in the past there seems many hundreds of years ago there's patronage system. Artists today are always faced with the challenge of either raising capital or getting people to invest in their ideas. And I think we have some different perspectives in terms of how you guys support and invest in creativity. So I'd love to just set a baseline so that when we think about investing in creativity, it's not always raising capital or going out and borrowing money. There's a lot of sweat equity and different infrastructure resources that go into it. So I guess the perspective of what value are you currently investing in creativity, and if so, how are you doing that? And then we can start to peel back the layers of the onion to start to understand, is there a blockage or is there a challenge that artists need to kind of, approach perspective? But first off, are you investing in creativity, and if so, how?
All right, look at me. I'm painted all over. Like tagged me earlier today, so No, but
Looks like you're investing in creativity already.
exactly. I mean, there's the monetary aspect, right? And then there's the time, energy, commitment, investment. And so we, for example, so here's Zach Gray, he's one of our artists that we support. So in our case, we created a partnership model in the collection that elevates artists. Hoback is a modernist partner that we want to elevate and support. With Zach, Web3 allowed me to become a music producer for the first time. We wrote a song that community can own a piece of. And so basically fractional ownership to people who stitch as modernists. That way we helped him he basically let go of all his labels and wanted to move into Web3 and fund himself that way and to really be creative. But in the music industry, it's really hard because, I don't know, 3 million listens and $700 to pay, right? You can't pay your bills that way as an artist. And so we basically wanted to create this innovation hub. And that's how we invest in creativity. Besides ourselves, we wanted to focus on artists and take innovative concepts like the fractional ownership of music or integrating fashion with Hoback into the collection and then do cross-community pollination to allow people to grow that way. And so we want to set examples. The most important thing in my eyes is you can't just invest in creativity and not execution. And I think a lot of artists are not familiar, like when you think of Web3, everybody suddenly has an NFT, and then you invest in collections that have no execution experience, or they don't understand how to scale it. And I think it's very important as investors, financial investors, and also as an incubator, as an accelerator, that we help people along the way, and to really scale and get it to market properly, market it properly. So there's a lot of aspects that I think you can't just invest in creativity. From that perspective, I think execution is key to really help artists thrive and learn and educate themselves on how to actually sustain in this new world, especially the bear market. I mean, how many people were here last year and how many people are here this year? We're still here. High five to all of you. But no, really, I mean, it's really, when you think about it, like literally NFT NYC 2021, it was massive. It was big this year too, but Art Basel, also massive. You could feel it. Like, I love it because it's more intimate, and I'll stop talking in a second. But I love it because it's more intimate, and the people who are here are really the builders right now. Right? There's not a lot of con artists. There's not a, that was here yet last year, and everybody was on this money high. So anyway, but I think it's really important that we help people to execute because markets come in ebbs and flows, and that keeps happening. And so, when everything goes up, every artist can win really quick. But when times are tough, you need to know how to run business.
All right, so partnerships, integration, and innovation, and then creativity versus execution. 3 key takeaways. Love it. Take it away.
Okay, the same here. I like how you mentioned execution and partnerships. From our perspective, what we found more recently, and we have flexibility because we're a technology company, but we're a small, approachable technology company. And I've had, in building the technology, a lot of input from artists. Just about 6 months ago, I had a very well-known artist who I don't think I'm going to share his story, so I'm not going to share his name, come to me and say, Andre, I'm selling these photographs for between $30,000 and $60,000. I hear that if I convert them to NFTs, someone can mint another one and point to it. That scares me. I understood that. So we sat down and we discussed what could be done, right? Also, other challenges such as sending an NFT with a contract, right? So someone can agree, and as that NFT travels, the contract travels with it. Now, although this artist does well for himself, he doesn't understand the technology, and he needs assistance. So that's exactly what we did. About 2 weeks ago, we released a version of, we're an integration platform, and our integration platform are web services. And we released the web service that allows you to encrypt your NFT. We released another one that allows you to extend the metadata of your NFT to whatever you want. Your NFTs can not only be encrypted, but they can be of any size that you care it to be, right? So we're investing in artists by allowing them to execute on things they can't execute themselves, thus making a mutually beneficial partnership. Why? Because when I start to understand the artist's pain, I can then go back and start building on my platform things that they need. A great example of this was when I was in New York a week and a half ago. I have a friend of mine who does large events in New York, and he wants to NFT his events. They don't understand how to get these. Is there a way that they could just, swipe their credit cards and take care of it? And I just explained to them the challenges with fraud. So what we've done is we're building a wallet today that will allow individuals never to have to deal with cryptocurrency at all. It will be mitigated in the background. Now, there'll be limitations such that, you can't automatically buy an NFT and run off with it because, chargebacks with credit cards and those things, right? So we're going to put some gating systems around it. I'm not going to speak to it because it's proprietary to my company, but my intentions are in the next month and a half to release a wallet where someone can verify an NFT at a club, buy that NFT, never have to deal with cryptocurrency, and lower the bar as much as possible. So we're trying to look beyond the guys who know what's going on in this field. And we know it's challenging, right? Setting up a wallet, 24 word seed phrase. People don't know how to deal with that. So we gate it a little bit, right? Make it a little bit more centralized, not completely centralized, allow them to move off the platform to OpenSea or any area they want when we know that no fraud has been committed. And that's what we're doing to support a lot of the people. So it's a mutual give and take. We're building technologies at no cost, right, for some of these artists, and trying to position ourselves ahead of the field as a technology company by listening to what people really need.
Multiple roles here. So real quick, to recap, we got security versus trust, access to tools, and empowerment as our key takeaways there. So we're starting to build a repertoire here, and we will have these recordings in the future, but I'd like to kind of take out those key tentpoles that we can take away from each of these pieces, because you see that there is investment that's happening. It's just the investment that happens comes in different forms than some of us traditionally think about.
Yeah, so to add to that, I think when NFTs came out, we were way too heavily focused as a community on complete decentralization. And I think that forced us into a position where we had to trust everyone in the ecosystem. And a big reason why we've collapsed recently and why a lot of these players from, for example, last year have wiped out is because we trusted a system that was completely open with zero rules and regulations around it. So with the first business, like I was building, we're in the middle, which was the marketplace, where we wouldn't have the issues that, for example, an OpenSea would have with intellectual property fraud or copycats of an existing project and trying to get people to buy it and stuff like that. What we tried to do is really give the IP back to the creator, verify everyone, kind of give them the blue tick, and bring that asset to market in a secure environment. So essentially what we did is we ended up creating a marketplace that was focused on investment grade assets, regardless of the nature of what the underlying was. And that like feeds back to my whole background in banking was you typically invest in something because there's an intrinsic value, right? Like you invest in a PFP project because it's bringing you some kind of membership or it's feeding you some kind of utility. You invest in a piece of art because the artist has a provenance and they have a track record. So my goal now that so much fluff and wiped out of the market is create infrastructure and stability for creators of all kinds from any asset class, regardless of art or not. And create a medium of exchange that can be trusted and utilized by the antiquated systems. If you take a look at even the stock market, there's still corruption in stock markets because 7 days takes over. So if we're able to use blockchain to clear that all out and really bring control back to the users, but also have a set of rules that everyone has to abide by, I think you've created an ecosystem that is basically Web 2.5, not Web 3, but it's somewhere in the middle that cleans up a lot.
Ooh, getting deep. Snaps. What about decentralization, massive focus that is shifting the way that we work. And we're obviously centralized as humans. We have a central nervous system, right? So decentralization is something that is inherently difficult for humans. Our brain is wired to centralize so that we don't lose track of stuff. So very interesting. Rules are good for user control and stable infrastructure, something that is a challenge, especially when everything is moving so fast. Ceiba, what do you have?
Well, I'm gonna cream, which is Wu-Tang, which is cash rules everything around me. So I come from hip hop, I've been in the industry for 38 years. Good music is my home team, Wu-Tang, Bad Kids, they are in the building, our Bad Kids Clique, which we do with songwriters and producers. 3 of our producers, one with us for Jail and Hurricane this year with our brother Kanye. And we've won 8 Grammys, 28 nominations, 7 Emmys, a Tony, and a Peabody. Malik Youssef, my partner, thank you, who's going to be here with me today. He's actually stuck with Nike in Chicago. But, for us, it's always been about starting from nothing. So to come into a space and try to explain, again, like you said, NFT last year were crazy here. I mean, it just took over our Basel. Really, it was more about the NFT than anything, even outside the art, although there was absolutely phenomenal art. But so when we're explaining all the great things that you guys have for artists, and even myself, let me be honest, for me, it's about taking care of my children, right? And I understand, and I've been learning, I still have a lot to learn. However, for us to explain that to our artists, to our brands, to our businesses that are coming up and make sense of it, coming out of a pandemic, it's a huge risk. And I'll be honest, it's the reason why Jay-Z, Kanye, and a lot of other people haven't necessarily got behind it all the way. Not that we don't have great tech people behind us, we do. I've invested a lot of money into technology, and I continue to, and I believe in it, and I know AI is important. I mean, I have a lawyer who created a metaverse gallery for us today. So cool. I mean, it's so cool. All the stuff that's happening, but we still have to make day-to-day bills. And so for us, it's very important that when we're investing, we can show them their investment and get actual. And that one thing you can't take cash away from itself. And for people who, like me, who I've come from nothing, and I created time and time again and had great results, and we continue to. Right now I'm pushing 58 artists nationally back homelessness, water, as well as saving the community space that we're in. So again, it comes down to those dollar amounts that can make sense for these people, because like for instance the owner of the space that I'm in, and I have to say this, Fabian, he got very caught up because Miami is that city. NFTs are BitBasel, all these cool things, and even the mayors come behind it, right? So this is the current file, chapter 13, and now we have to save his space because he wasted a lot of his actual dollars into the space of currency. Now he has to come back and relook at it. And so it's still not working on a day-to-day basis is all I'm saying. I thank you guys, because what you guys are telling me is we're teaching us, and hopefully you guys are finding those solutions, because I do believe that the market goes up and down, the stock market. So thanks.
Give me 1 second. I just want to introduce Michael, who just joined us, and give him a second to just introduce himself and respond, and then we can start going crisscross and back and forth, because I think we're starting to really get into it right now. To recap, it's the downside risk versus the upside reward on both sides of the fence. You have your investors that are taking the risk to invest into creative, into tools, into infrastructure that's guaranteed to change. We've seen it with artists, we've seen it with platforms, we've seen it with technology, we've seen it with users. There's also the downside risk potential for the artist that is investing into this new world, these new tools, and these new economies. I have plenty of marketplaces that I put NFTs on that I can no longer go to that marketplace because it no longer exists, or I get a letter saying, thank you for your time, I appreciate it, we've moved on. We've now raised $5 million and we're no longer this company. You have 30 days to get your assets off or they're gone forever. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael from NFT Pay. Hey guys. Hey everyone, how's it going? Check. I'm
I'm a serial entrepreneur, serial investor, was part of Stanford Blockchain Society since 2015, early builder of what we now call NFTs from 2016, and very excited to see everything that's become of everything. And one of the critical, most important things is kind of a mixture of what everyone's been saying, making things simple, making things so everybody out there, the 8 billion people that we just crossed, as a population, can use some of these tools and technologies to their benefit, right? Otherwise, what's the point of making this? And so there's been a lot of flaws in it recently, $38 billion gone with SFX, BlockFi going down, and that's because a lack of, regulations for sure, and the right people kind of, having the right incentives to do the right thing. So I think I think a lot of the builders need to focus on not just very cool, complex technology, but like the actual practical use cases of improving humanity, the actual value. Like for example, our company NFT Pay, what we're focusing on is we make NFT payments simple. It's like you can buy an NFT in less than a minute with your credit card. There's no limit on the transaction amount. We actually guarantee 100% against fraud or chargebacks. There's nothing like it on the planet. We have the patent on it. We're the first to do it. We've done millions in revenue. We sold out multiple launches for millions of dollars in less than a minute, some of them. We're here to make that process easy. You have your famous brands, your most favorite folks from NBA top shots, like guys like LeBron to like Gary Vee, all the walks of life launching NFTs, and they could really help your life out if they're like, a membership or something with some extra perks and some cool value. So why not let everybody like get a fair chance at buying them instead of them selling out in 2 seconds and then trying to use like a broken solution that you have to go on 3 different exchanges to get your cryptocurrency. Remember, as a crazy 24-character seed phrase thing. Like no one wants to do that. We're used to Amazon Prime, one-click buy. So that's what NFT Pay brings to the world. So anyone's doing an NFT marketplace, NFT project, NFT gaming company, we're here to help you out.
Amen. Thank you. Let's talk.
For real.
And actually, that's one of the things that I enjoy about this, right? Because there's multiple lines of dialogue. There's our dialogue, there's our dialogue, there's our dialogue, and there's their dialogue. And so hopefully out of this, it's not just a panel where this is a one-way, and we're going to open it up in a few minutes too to get some questions as well. But these are opportunities for businesses, for artists, creators, consumers to hear these things and spark these conversations. So hopefully these panels become a spark and not just a download. I know you wanted to jump in, Ori, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I think just to add on to what Mike was saying, one of the tricks I found in trying to make NFTs easily adoptable by the Web3 community, because I think we've seen that that's relatively easy. It's getting the Web2 community in it. And like the key thing I've been trying to tell people, and with all the clients I work with, it's been, don't think of an NFT or even a token as an asset class of its own. It's basically a tool to improve an existing asset class. So an NFT is only as good as the underlying asset that it's trading.
Hold on, real quick. I see. You got that? No. All right. Rewind and give it back. Who understands what was just said? Okay. Yeah. No, I want to bring it back real quick. So we have a couple hands that understood that. So rewind that because that is critical.
That's the most important thing. And can I say it also in a different way?
Yeah.
So an NFT is just code on the blockchain that represents something of value. And that's exactly what Ori was saying. And that's, once you grasp that core concept, it's like, then you can build from there and you can.
Yeah, so very simply put, an NFT is a deed of ownership to something. It doesn't matter, it could be physical, digital, it could be whatever you want it to be. So, for example, you buy an NFT on a token, right? Let's say the house is worth $1 million, technically your NFT should be just worth $1 million. And that's based off of the value of the brick and the mortar, the neighborhood, and everything, all the intrinsic and extrinsic value. If the market for NFTs implodes on itself, you should have a floor value for that asset. that floor value should be based off of the bricks, the mortar, the value of the neighborhood, and so on. If the NFT market implodes on itself, that asset should never revert back to zero, because I've still got something behind it. And that's something I'm trying to work with clients on all the time. Is trying to show that you don't have to create a massive marketing scheme to get everyone to buy your NFT, to basically follow like these discords and the OpenSea strategy to sell an NFT, because that's not really your core business. If you're Ferrari, your business is Ferrari, not NFTs. And you have to teach people to community that basically the NFT is just a tool to make that business faster and easier and cheaper. One of the big things I work on is real estate title transfer. So I use an NFT to take the deed of ownership to a home and transfer it over to the next buyer. By doing so, I'm not really creating a new asset class, I'm just moving a house over from buyer to seller, but I've reduced the cost of that transaction by $10,000 for the user. And that's using Web3 to improve Web2, not creating a new asset per se.
Yes, so important to understand that concept. You know, NFTs have a little bit of a bad rep, like with some people that don't know what's up right now, and that's because of, we all got distracted from pictures of monkeys and all the weird shit selling for millions of dollars. And like, you know, like Ori just said, if it implodes, you know, it should go back to what it's rightfully worth. It's only code on the blockchain that represents something of value. That's all it is. NFT is just a word for this, like, you know, technology. That's it. It shouldn't be worth more because it's an NFT. No, it should be worth what it is worth.
Let me throw a wrench in the engine here for a second. All right.
We're open to challenges.
No, I completely agree. I'm on the same page with all of the panelists here. It's just a representation. However, for the last year and a half, at least, we have been striving on the digital end not to make it just a representation. And that is why today at Blockchain of Things, you can encrypt not only the metadata, but the actual data that is that the representation on the blockchain points to. Because when you can do that,
You're talking about this, where the actual art or thing is stored, that is the visual representation.
right, so we go beyond art, right? Because we see everything as a binary stream, anything that's digital, you can now have CAD files that are design files that may be worth hundreds of millions of dollars to Ford or to an architect, hundreds of thousands to architect a building or a house that now can be transferred. And only upon transference can the owner decrypt the true value of what exists. So when I said, let me throw a wrench into that, yes, up until a month ago, I think across the industry that was true. But a month ago, we released our APIs that allow you to encrypt the payload, extend the metadata, encrypt the metadata, and have the metadata and the payload be as large as you want it to be, and transfer it, encrypt it if you wish to, or not. So all of a sudden, we're breaking down the paradigm that the NFT is only the representation on the blockchain. That representation, along with a public-private key pair, is now going to be able to unlock the value when that value is digital, right? So I don't want to throw things out, but that's where I talk about investing with artists. And in reality, if you've listened to what I said, they're really investing in us. Sometimes I feel more than I'm investing in them, right? Because I wouldn't have taken that direction if I didn't sit down with some of these people and look at the fear in their eyes when I talk about technology, and the fact that they're traditional, they come from a traditional space, they don't understand what's going on, and half of it scares them.
So to that point, right? Because Ceiba, this is really kind of the challenge from your end, right? And I deal with this too, right? I took the last couple of years to really focus on NFTs to understand. And I have a lot of artists that now realize that, or they're like, oh, you get this. Can you make my NFTs? Can you do this for me? And my response is no. I can teach you. I'll take the time. We have courses. You can come in our rooms. You can hang out. You can invest. And I'd be glad to give you information. And from that information, you can find some stuff. But they're unwilling to take the risk to go do that on their own. They just want stuff given and handed over. So when you get something handed over, you get the constraints that come with it. You guys as builders, right, need artists to come to you. But Ceiba, as being a manager, how do we bridge this gap? Because the artists aren't there yet. There's a huge learning curve. So is there a meet in the middle, or are you expecting artists to come on board, or is there now going to be a middle layer that's going to be created?
Well, right now they just feel like, and not to, but they, honestly, we feel like it's a joke. I'll just be honest. It's very funny to us right now. Just because we watched it do exactly what we thought it would do. I mean, I literally took $1 off of my Cash App card and I've let Bitcoin go at it. And I've watched it go to $27 and the lowest I've seen it is $3 as of today. And that's just my thing with Bitcoin. I wanted to test it. I have wallets, I have my whole team that runs that side of things, but I think that there is a medium. I think it has to be simply put. I think we need logistics. You know, numbers don't lie on the scoreboard, Jay-Z. They don't. So when you can show us that there's something of value and you can do something small with us, say it's a concert, say it's a tour, say it's one event, and you can show us that that's successful, then of course, slowly but surely that's gonna catch on like wildfire, and you know what I'm saying, wildfire. It goes, you know, it takes somebody to do it, to show us that it can be done. I think it was Travis Scott or somebody that had a run. I remember somebody out of the team had a good run, and then they found out it was a fake, I don't know, it was like a fake album or something. Something didn't work out there anyways. It just put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, is all I'm saying, from all different angles. And I have a lot of digital artists now, you know, a lot of visual artists that are digital, and also have phenomenal NFTs that we've shown, and people love it, but they don't know how to purchase it. And so yet last year, I had a lot of people come in purchasing art, right? And they wanted to do NFTs with the artists. And these artists never got their money and the piece never sold. And guess what I made them do this year? Put stickers with real dollar prices on it. Yep. Because I feel like I owe them that from last year. You know what I mean? And so I can't wait till the day that we sit down and have more board meetings and talk about these things, and not really talk so much, but get to the action and the bulk of it, because I'm an action-oriented person, and so is my team. So make it simple. I always say it like this: if you guys can explain it to my 4-year-old and you can explain it to my 94-year-old grandmother, we're in a good place. Is that fair? Is that fair, guys? Okay. Thanks.
I'm gonna add to this.
There's real quick. There's a quote on our website on the front page. It says, "So easy, your grandmother can do it." So we got you.
Oh, it's all good. You know, I think, to your point, I think we really have to change the function. If you go to a lot of builders and you say, explain to me your business and what you're solving without using any Web3 acronyms, a lot of people struggle. Because they just have an NFT project. There's this word, it's something of a business, and suddenly they are super successful. But I think we have to talk about solve problems. And NFTs are a technological solution that is superior, but you have to change the conversation. It's not just I have an NFT. I have a solution to a problem that has intrinsic value, right? And then there is a technological layer that allows me to move it in a decentralized way or whatever. So I think that's one thing. I onboarded 2 people last night to Web3. And it's very simple. And we had a little party in our house, and there were one's here actually. She's new to Web3, welcome. But we, you know, in our project, like I always focus on how can we bring more people into this space. And we analyze how many steps it takes till you actually then understanding how to trade it, to engage in the content. 32 steps till you hit these magic moments. When you build products, you want to hit magic moments fast, right? But the process is fear. Don't do this, don't do this. Don't show this to anybody. Do you have a safe? Put the paper in your safe. And everybody's like, you know, people that are, and when you think about liquidity in the market, the middle class that has a lot of liquidity to invest in this market as well, they're too comfortable to go through 32 steps to actually get in, right? So I think there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of problems that we need to solve as builders as well to make that more simple and streamlined. So I really love what you're doing, and I want to look at it because that is what we need. We need the one-click buy, be in solutions, and we're too comfortable. You know, nobody goes to 32 steps. It's just not happening when there's no bull market, right?
So I guess at this point, right, we have a couple minutes left. I'd love to open it up if anyone has questions. Let's begin this dialogue. If I can borrow someone's wireless and then bring it back.
Great panel, everyone. My question is, I know this is still a pretty new industry. There's a lot of learning and mistakes that are being made, and we can learn from them. From your point of view, what has been or is one of the biggest pet peeves or things you see within the industry, just kind of driving you up the wall, things that piss you off that you think are blocking mass adoption in this space?
One of the most frustrating things is I find that Web3, the way it's structured right now, has been built for nerds for nerds. Like it's guys like us having these very techy conversations, talking about wallets, talking about like metadata and IP and all that stuff. 99% of the world don't understand this. I think like the main thing we've got to figure out is how to idiot-proof the entire system. In order to do that, you've got to somewhat centralize it and stop using jargon that most people won't understand. We have to really adopt, like, whatever industry we're trying to target, we have to use their language, we have to use their asset class, and we have to show that blockchain just makes it easy. So using a credit card for an NFT, there's step one, the easy payment, it's crucial. Being able to tokenize an asset, tokenize whatever it is, right? Like what Instagram just did with digital collectibles, they just showed that, hey, it's not just an NFT, it can be literally anything you take a picture of, and you can store your own asset on it and transfer. So it's not an NFT, it's just a method of transacting. The first company I created was literally designed for the purpose of helping artists get physical pieces of art onto a blockchain market without having to deal with any decentralized party who would do it for them. They decided what functionality they wanted, we sent them a chip, and they would like glue it on the back of the painting. We basically turned it into a Web2 business. And just the way we were transacting for the pieces, the way we were helping with clients and everything, that was to make sure the process was sleek and elegant and no one had to interact with blockchain besides us.
I have a pet peeve. So that's what you said, basically, that we're kind of thinking about NFTs. So every day I get hit up, all these people, not so much anymore, but what NFT should I buy? What NFT should I invest in? And the whole time I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna separate myself and I'm not gonna buy any NFTs. I'm gonna be the owner and creator of NFT Pay, and I'm not gonna buy NFTs because I'm gonna buy the ones actually with meaning, like I bought NFT tickets before, ones with value, but I'm not here to advise on what, the popular brands, like anything. Bored Apes Yacht Club, they did a pretty good job at developing a brand, but everybody else, they all lost money, right? If I told them to buy any one of those, they would have lost money if they didn't buy it at the exact right time and sell it at the exact right time. So I never advised anyone to buy any of them. I said invest in NFT infrastructure because NFTs are going to be super valuable because they're going to represent everything in this entire planet that's valuable. All physical products, all metaverse products, every song, every video, every piece of art, every deed is eventually going to be represented with an NFT. So I said, stop asking me about the stupid images and JPEGs that are NFTs and start, investing in an infrastructure that's going to be worth trillions one day.
And I think for people who want to get through the space, which community should I invest in? I think there's a lot of, it's all built around community, a lot of community. We built a community of creators and innovators that help each other, partner ecosystem. that's maybe a great neighborhood to live in for some people, and other people want to live in a different neighborhood, if you think about it that way, right? So the PMP, the image is just the visual representation of some utility, hopefully. In other cases, there were a lot of, there was nothing behind. But I think that's important, that you also invest, obviously, as an investor, you invest in infrastructure, but as a general investor who wants to join the space, who's not a VC or an angel investor, what community do you want? I think that's a great question to ask. I want to just really quick to your question. The one thing that I think is really frustrating, and it frustrates me to the core, is the poor language in the space. When we push people away with these, I mean, when you hop on spaces, there's tons of DN spaces, it's the F word in literally every third word, and it's so frustrating, right? You need to be there, but I literally hop in and I leave, I can't deal with it. And so we try to do it different, but it's somehow the space, because of this use case art that was used as the first one, which is not necessarily the best one, but now NFTs are equal art, which is not true, right? Which we've heard. And so additionally, we have this very poor language in the space that pushes people away, and that really frustrates me.
I'll be honest though. I worked in corporate, right? You guys can't see me. We have one last question, and then we're going to have to wrap up. But I didn't learn poor language until I worked for corporate America. And I didn't know that you could say the F word in the boardroom or scream it across the floor or anything, right? And then I was like, start to use this, and they're like, huh, you're talking like a truck driver. I was like, I don't know, my boss just did it. Like, it was okay. So I think there are some, cultural kind of nuances, and it might just be human thing versus like a Web thing. But real quick, I have one last question, and we do have to wrap it up. But I think we ended up in a place that this is now the next panel, right? As we start to talk about some of these things. And I think this is a conversation that I'd like for us to keep having and keep going. So if everyone is in the audience, before we do wrap it up, you guys just give everyone, after this last question, where people can find you. So this way people can follow your companies and yourselves as well. Question.
Hi, my name's Alan, inventor, and artist, inventor, technologist, creator. And last year, I've been creating art for the last 40, 50 plus years. And last year, when we were talking to people about BitBasel, they said, "You're not an NFT artist." What? I create art and people buy it. No, I wasn't an NFT artist. It needed a community or a utility. So now where I've evolved is now I'm selling my art on the walls and I'm giving them an NFT for free to mitigate, or because basically a lot of people still don't know what an NFT is, nor do they want to.
So is there a specific question?
Yeah, so I think the question was, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The question is, as we evolve these platforms, which I think are really great in being able to help people get to an NFT, get there easily. The problem or the question is, what are the NFTs actually going to be? Besides being art, what will they actually be? Metadata of what?
And the beautiful thing is that our next panel is about the future of Web3 and innovation. So stick around, because we're going to get a bunch of answers to that. I don't know if you guys want to succinctly, or anyone wants to jump in and answer that directly.
I'll try quickly. I think as the field evolves, NFTs are going to be everything. Today, they may represent some GIFs online, and you might view them as that. But tomorrow, they'll be representing square footage of property, intellectual digital goods, identities. So the sky's the limit. Let's not limit ourselves to art, although art is important. The world can't get on without art. But I think that's the most succinct answer I can give.
I think just the main point to that is it really depends on what your core business model is, right? So if you're an artist, I don't think you should be focusing on utility or paying dividends out of your NFTs or even gamifying it. You're an artist, create art, and people will buy it because it's art. They're not going to buy your NFT or your digital art because you have a good Discord. They're going to buy it because they want to put it on display. And that's something that, like, again, like, we have to take NFTs, the tech, and use it to improve your asset class, not try to turn it into something it's not.
Yeah.
All right. This is the last couple of answers, and then share where you're from, and we got to wrap.
Yeah, I think just coming back to that original point where NFTs, again, are just code on the blockchain that represents something of value. So your art, you know, it's just giving it a deed on the blockchain so people know that they're the original owner and not somebody else's. So that's it. Don't focus on the utility, don't focus on gamifying it, don't focus on some marketing ploy. Focus on your art and creating and bringing that light and love to the universe.
Anyone else? All right, real quick, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say this. I'll say this. Creativity and arts, they work together. So there's always gonna be innovation. You know, there's always gonna be forward movement, forward thinking, and it just takes great minds like this to have these conversations, educate one another, apply the education to the solution to a world full of problems. So thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure sitting on the panel with you.
Real quick, where does everyone find you? Say the word.
At 1STLADY, so at First Lady CEIBA, or at PR and Arts Agency, Arts with the S. So you can find me at Chavez.com. Thanks.
Yeah,
You can find my company at blockchainofthings.com and on Twitter at blockchainot. Once again, that's blockchainot on Twitter, and it'll guide you to all of our properties.
You can find us at Modernist NFT on all platforms, and myself, also all platforms. And we took over the Twitter account for our BitBasel, and we're having fun. So if you follow Modernist NFT, you can have that account too if you want, and skip the voice in the space of voice. So it's gonna be fun.
That's awesome. NFTpay.xyz. NFTpay.xyz. My name's Mike. I got a QR code. If you want to do some business or partner or talk about pickleball, come say what's up.
Thank you, our phenomenal speakers. Let's get a round of applause, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, JJ, Scott, BitBasel. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, BitBasel. Ladies and gentlemen.